Jedi and Sith, Masters and Padawans, we are rapidly approaching the release of Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And if you're anything like me, you were so incredibly blown away by Jedi Fallen Order that you are so excited for this news and to jump into all of the juicy, great details that we have so far about the upcoming sequel. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. Welcome everybody to the Lumberzak Gaming Channel, your place for friendly, quality gaming content. That's right, the sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order that released in 2019 is almost upon us, and there are plenty of things that we already know about the game, but man, is this shaping up to be an incredible experience. We're gonna go ahead and jump into 15 details that you may or may not know to get us ready for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. From companions to enemies, from places to abilities, we're gonna dive into all of it, so make sure to stick around till the end. Let's not waste any more time and dive right on in. The setting of Star Wars Jedi Survivor is going to pick up about 5 years after the events of Jedi Fallen Order. And for those of you who don't know, slight spoiler warning, it concluded with our hero Cal Kestis sacrificing the chance to rebuild the Jedi Order to keep Force-sensitive children safe from the Empire. It seems like the setting of this game is going to be a lot darker than the first one, as Cal is being pushed into an increasingly desperate fight as the galaxy descends further into darkness. Cal is one of the last remaining Jedi Knights in the galaxy, and so Star Wars Jedi Survivor is going to explore just how far Cal is willing to go to protect himself, his crew, his friends, and the legacy of the Jedi Order. It seems like the setting is going to be deeply rooted in what Cal thinks is the right thing to do from now on. One of the important things to know is, where does this actually take place in the entire timeline of Star Wars if you don't keep up with this? Well, with it being 5 years after the first game, this roughly takes place during the same time period as the Andor and the Obi-Wan shows if you've been following those on Disney+. And for those of you guys that follow the shows and all of the lore of everything, Cal is played by Cameron Monaghan, who, I mean, he literally looks exactly like him. He's completely based off of him, which means we could very much see Cal show up in some of the live action shows. Likely, I'm thinking this would be in season 2 of Andor. Most people are often a fan when these things collide, so it'll be interesting to see if we actually get to see Cal in live action. The new trailer opens up with somebody in a Bacta tank, and after wild speculation from everybody trying to figure out who it is, likely it's a new character, specifically a former Jedi who was also likely betrayed by a Jedi. And while we don't know the character's name in this game yet, he is missing an arm that looks like it was clearly taken off by a lightsaber. So I'm sure one of the things that we're gonna wanna find out through this game is who did it. And is this the same person that put him in the Bacta tank to begin with? So this is definitely going to be a huge story point for Survivor. When it comes to the enemies that we're gonna see in Star Wars Jedi Survivor, there's quite a huge list of them. From what we know so far, from what we've seen or what's been confirmed, we can expect to see Scout Troopers. We can also see Riot Scout Troopers, IG-100 Magna Guard, Stormtroopers, KX Security Droids, the BX Commando Unit, Heavy Weapon Stormtroopers, B-1 Battle Droids, B-2 Super Battle Droids, and DT Sentry Droids. Now, I'm sure this is not an exclusive list of the enemies that we're going to be expecting to see in this game, but it definitely shows off that there is a lot more enemy variety in here that we've already seen, and we'll continue to see as the game gets closer to release, and I'm sure there will still be even hidden ones from there. Enemy variety is always a huge deal when it comes to games like this, and you know, they always say that variety is the spice of life. When it comes to traversing the areas that we're going to be exploring, we have a new Ascension Cable that we're going to be able to use for climbing and crossing long distances. The development team said that they really wanted to focus in on making this not just a linear progression, but to allow a little bit more exploration, jumping up to higher places, and using this Ascension Cable is one of the main ways that they're going to go about doing this. Plus, you know, like, who doesn't love a good grappling hook? You know, grappling hooks are pretty freaking dope. Also, when it comes to traversing areas, we're going to be able to tame and ride mounts. From flying mounts to land mounts, it seems like there's going to be a lot of different creatures that we're going to be able to experience riding, and not just riding, but using them to fight on. We don't have confirmation yet of the amount of beasts that we're going to be able to see, but I do hope that we'll get to see a good amount of them, because already it just looks incredible. Plus, one of the things that I've always loved from the world of Star Wars is just the vast amount of beasts that there are. And so I'm really hoping that we're going to be able to experience that throughout this game.
Like a panther. Yes.
When it comes to spicing up the gameplay in this one specifically, we've also had it confirmed that there are 5 new stances that we'll be using to fight with our lightsabers, and something else that we'll talk about here in a second. The development team was quoted saying, "We have 5 fully realized stances in the game. A lot of it depends on the enemy that you're coming across. It's advantageous to use certain types of stances against certain types of enemies, and it's up to the player to figure that out. It requires the player to break down the enemies and figure out what is the best weapon of choice." As much as I love going around and slicing things up with a lightsaber, it is nice to know that there will be different types of weapons and different types of stances that are going to completely change the way that we do combat. Now, I know that this was in the first game, but continuing to add more stances and more ways to fight enemies just seems like a good idea, and naturally, you would expect to see it from a sequel like this. It is also confirmed now that Cal is packing heat. That's right, he's got a blaster, and all I'm saying is that I really hope that I can have a lightsaber in one hand and a blaster in the other. Because, like, I don't understand any kind of reason that wouldn't be a possibility, so, you know, just give me that, please. Please? Clearly, we are also going to be able to have upgraded Force abilities, as it's been 5 years since the events of the last game, so Cal's been working on his Force abilities the entire time. I'm sure we're going to get new ability trees and new Force moves that we're going to be able to use, and I don't ever get tired. It doesn't matter what Star Wars game it is, I don't ever get tired using the Force, so I'm really looking forward to see what new abilities we're going to find in this game. While we don't have a lot of specifics on the types of bosses that we are going to fight, it does appear that there might be one kind of boss in particular, and that would be the Jedi. And let me tell you something about the Jedi. They don't mess around. They don't even have bones. Okay, but it is said that Jedi have incredible physical resilience and regenerative abilities. They also have no vital organs, so like, you know, like a brain or a heart or anything like that, and like I said, they can regenerate their limbs. It's also said that they live to like thousands of years old. Most people even believe that the Jedi are like immortal because of these things. I'll be coming out with a new video here in the near future about all the enemy types, breaking them down a little bit more from Jedi Survivor. So if that's something you're gonna be interested in, make sure to hit that subscribe button to see that when it comes up. We don't necessarily have a ton of confirmed locations yet for the game, but based on the trailer alone, we definitely see that shining city, that beautiful city of Coruscant in the background. Now, whether that's going to be a place that we're actually like running around and doing things on, or if that's going to be something that we're going to see mainly in cutscenes, it is clear that it is making some sort of appearance in Jedi Survivor. It also does appear that Bogano is possibly coming back in a certain way. Bogano was a grassy planet on the Outer Rim territories, which was actually the second planet that we visited in Jedi Fallen Order. This isn't necessarily 100% confirmed that we're going to be there, but based on this trailer, this does look very similar to the types of areas we were at in Bogano in the first game. So don't 100% quote me on this one, but it definitely seems like it. It's also interesting to note that there's a severe lack of the companions from Fallen Order in the trailer for Survivors. And Cameron Monaghan actually kind of talked about this in an interview, so listen to what he says here.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the story of the first game was what happens when you lose your family and how can you find a new one for yourself. With this story, we say, okay, you have a family, but when the circumstances around you change, what happens when you all have different opinions on how to deal with those circumstances?
Definitely seems like he's very much alluding to the fact that, you know, bad things are happening and not everybody knows how to deal with that in the same exact way. And so it almost seems like the team was disbanded. But if I'm a betting man, I won't be surprised if we see some of the old faces back for this one. We actually also do have confirmation of a new companion that we will at least see, you know, a little bit. Is Bogano, who is a mercenary that is around Cal's age. The developer said that he and Cal form a special bond, and it's almost like they're brothers. And they're not exactly the same, but they do really complement each other. Some people are speculating that there's going to be some sort of companion element in this game where they'll be fighting alongside of you and you can use them to your advantage. However, this game really does seem to focus in on Cal mostly, so I can't imagine it's going to be throughout the whole time that you're going to have companions with you. But I really think it would be an interesting element if we got to see it in a couple missions, and if we get to see some more companions along along the way. It is also important to note that unfortunately, this game is a next-gen only experience, so you're going to be playing it on PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X and S, and PC only. With the type of juice that it takes to run this game, especially with things like ray tracing, the development team said it just made sense to make this a next-gen only experience. And with PlayStation recently saying that their shortage is pretty much over with the PlayStation 5, it's definitely more accessible, however, it might not be as affordable. And finally, we can expect to see this game release on March 17th, and I can't imagine with it being this close that we're going to see any kind of delays. So fingers crossed, in the first quarter of this year, we're going to be able to jump back into the Star Wars universe as Cal Kestis for an amazing game experience. Here at the Lumberjack Gaming channel, we are all about building a positive community of gamers that want to support each other and game together. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to hit that like button, make sure to hit that subscribe button, come be part of a friendly, positive gaming community. For more details about games that are upcoming, go ahead and check out this video, and I'll see you in the next one.